Welcome to the presentation, Transformational Leadership in the Moderating Role of Trust and Job Satisfaction on Organizational Citizenship Behavior. My name is Jack McCann. Co-authors on this paper are Betsy Sparks and Thomas Kohntopp. Betsy Sparks will present the second half of this presentation today. The purpose of our presentation is to look at the relationship between transformational leadership and organizational citizenship to determine if interpersonal trust at work, job satisfaction, significantly moderated this relationship. So measures of transformational leadership behaviors, employees' trust in their leader, and job satisfaction were obtained from a sample of 158 manufacturing employees in the United States. Matching self-evaluations of employees' behaviors were also obtained to determine the level of moderation. So research questions, and research question 1, what are the relationships between transformational leadership and interpersonal trust at work, job satisfaction, and organizational citizenship in manufacturing industries in the United States? Hypothesis 1, transformational leadership has a positive effect on org citizenship in manufacturing industries in the U.S. Hypothesis 2, interpersonal trust at work has a positive effect on organizational citizenship in manufacturing industries in the U.S. And hypothesis 2, job satisfaction has a positive effect on org citizenship in manufacturing industries in the United States. Then research question 2, what are the moderating effects of job satisfaction and interpersonal trust at work on the relationship between transformational leadership and organizational citizenship in manufacturing industries in the U.S.? Hypothesis 4, job satisfaction strengthens the positive impact of transformational leadership on organizational citizenship. Hypothesis 5, interpersonal trust at work strengthens the positive impact of transformational leadership on organizational citizenship. Here's the conceptual model for our paper. Of course, companies are continually searching for ways to improve employee performance and achieve organizational success, and that's what's driving our research and literature review. Of course, we looked at, I just presented you with those hypotheses, and then here's how the variables work together in our conceptual model, looking at transformational leadership, trust, and job satisfaction, and how they impact on organizational citizenship behaviors. So we examined research from the operational level of motivation and leadership to tactical or strategical aspects of teams and design of organizations. And we also investigated transformational leadership and organizational citizenship behavior to look at these variables and how they can help companies succeed. So, organizations are now more focused on a work environment where employees are empowered and encouraged and supported in their personal and professional growth. Of course, as we know, early organizations were typified by authoritarian leaders who believed that employees were intrinsically lazy. And these leaders focused on improving work environments to increase productivity. But today, organizations are transforming in places where people are empowered and encouraged and supported. So the focus of leadership has changed over time. It's influenced and shaped the development and progression of leadership theory. And organizations are now focused on a work environment where people are empowered, encouraged, and supported. So, of course, James McGregor Burns first introduced the concepts of transformational leadership during his study on political leadership, and he described two theories, the transactional and transformational leadership theories. And up to that point, leadership was focused on lower levels in the organization. And then in his book, Leadership, he pointed out that most leadership studies had focused on transactional leadership, in fact, and that another critical area, transformational leadership, had been ignored. And then Bernard Bass built on Burns' research and took the concepts from the political world to the world of work and the supervisor-subordinate relationships. And Bass explained that the mechanisms that underlie transformational and transactional leadership are actually manifested in leaders' demonstration of four primary activities: individual consideration, intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation or charismatic leadership, and idealized influence. So transformational leaders encourage employees to be more than just, employees. They want to try to get us, to support them in their development of themselves and also as workers. But essentially, transformational leadership is a relational theory where leaders and followers have mutually reciprocated relationships while changes of information and support occur. So the transformative global leader emotionally connects with people from different cultures, builds a network of people of influence and power, and nurtures trust and advocates collaboration. So this idea of organizational citizenship behavior is the actions that employees take on the job beyond performing actual tasks, and these things can enhance or hinder success. So organizational citizenship behavior is one concept that has promise from a positive perspective. We thought of actions that employees take that aren't part of their formal responsibilities, and it's individual behavior that's discretionary, not directly or explicitly recognized by the formal leadership or formal reward system. You have altruism, conscientiousness, sportsmanship. These things, courtesy and civic virtue, are descriptions or dimensions of organizational citizenship behavior. In looking at the research and examining transformational and organizational citizenship behavior, it's found that and shows great, fostering and strengthening employee performance and group success when used in combination. And overall, research seems to support a positive relationship between transformational leadership and employee organizational citizenship behavior. So thank you, and Betsy Sparks will take the second part of the presentation.
For this research, we administered a quantitative field survey to full-time manufacturing employees in the United States. Items from 4 existing surveys measuring the latent variables, global transformational leadership, interpersonal trust at work, job satisfaction, and organizational citizenship were used. The Global Transformational Leadership Scale consisted of 7 items that employees evaluated their managers on their leadership behavior for items such as communicating a vision, developing staff, providing support, empowering staff, being innovative, leading by example, and exhibiting charisma. For job satisfaction, we used the Minnesota Job Satisfaction Questionnaire. This questionnaire measured an employee's satisfaction with specific aspects of their work and environments. There were 20 items in the Minnesota Satisfaction Questionnaire. For interpersonal trust at work, we used a 12-item scale where we measured employees' trust in their managers and how they felt they could depend on other workers in their group. For organizational citizenship, we used a 10-item scale that evaluated how employees felt that they exhibited behaviors as part of organizational citizenship, such as helping new employees, helping coworkers, volunteering to complete tasks, and other items that are helpful in an organizational environment. Our participants were recruited through Amazon MTurk. Now, there have been several studies about the use of Amazon MTurk in academic research. And the items that you see, some other studies, are listed here on this slide. And what these researchers have found is that if you're looking to a general population, you're asking general items such as we did in this survey that any employee would be familiar with, then Amazon MTurk has been found to be a reliable source for recruiting participants. We narrowed down our qualifications in Amazon MTurk to where we were looking only at full-time employees in the manufacturing environment. So when the emails to participate were sent to these employees, they were strictly chosen from indicating that they worked full-time in a manufacturing environment. Partial least square structural equation modeling was used to analyze our survey results. The required sample size was 122 participants based on a 5% significance level and a minimum R-squared of 0.10. And this is based on the requirements indicated by Cohen. We had 317 individuals directed to the survey from Amazon MTurk, with 229 starting the survey and 158 completing the survey. Here are the demographics for our survey. As indicated on the slide, there were quite a few more males than females that responded. A lot of our participants were in the 18 to 35-year-old age range. A lot of them also had graduate degrees, as indicated by the 93 participants out of our sample. And many of them had 5 years or less, or over 5 but less than 20. We did not get that many participants with more than 20 years of work experience. To analyze the partial least square structural equation model, we used SMART PLS 3.2.8. The measurement model, which is the latent variables and the survey items that are measuring those latent variables, we used the criteria of 0.708, that those items had to load on the particular construct at a value of 0.708 to explain more than 50% of the indicator's variance. And those are based on the requirements of Hare shown there in the citation. So the survey items with less than 0.708 outer loadings were eliminated from the model. So we eliminated 5 items related to job satisfaction, 3 for organizational citizenship, and 2 for trust. Now, to conduct the partial least square structural equation model, you should have at least 5 items left for each latent variable, which we had more than that by the time we did our analysis. For the measurement model, we looked at an internal consistency reliability with a composite reliability of at least 0.70, and all of our items exceeded 0.70, so we had internal consistency reliability. We also looked at the composite reliability, and the composite reliability exceeding 0.95, we had 2 variables, job satisfaction and trust, where the items we had reliabilities greater than 0.95. So this meant that we had some redundant items in our survey. So we removed 4 trust items that we deemed as redundant and 6 job satisfaction items. So after all of these removals, we had all latent variables having at least 5 survey items related to those variables, which meet the requirements for performing a partial least square structural equation model. Our variance inflation factors were equal to or lower than 3.3, and according to Koch, if that's the case, then our model is free of common response bias. We had discriminate validity, based on our heterotrait monotrait ratio of the correlations with 0.90 as the threshold. All of our heterotrait monotrait ratios were below 0.81, which indicated discriminant validity. We also had convergent validity in our analysis because the average variance extracted exceeded 0.50. So here are the results for our analysis. As you can see, these are the means for the global transformational leadership, for trust, our standard deviations. Our Cronbach's alpha values were all above 0.7. Here's our composite reliability, and all these scores are below 0.95. We have our row A, which is also a measurement used when you're evaluating a partially square structural equation model. Our average variance extracted exceeded 0.50, and here's our variance inflation factors for our basically independent variables, and you don't report a variance inflation factor for the endogenous. And our endogenous, which is the variable that we're trying to measure, our dependent variable, if you relate it to multiple regression, is organizational citizenship. So based on our structural model, we found that our R-squared, our coefficient of determination, was 0.52, which is in the moderate range. So that means that 52% of the variance was explained by our independent variables in our path model that I will show you in just a second. Our predictive accuracy of our model was measured with an omission distance of 7. So we came up with a median predictive relevance, that's our Q-squared number of 0.290, and then we came up with our predicted relevance in terms of Q-squared predictive values, and they range from 0.195 to 0.323, indicating that our model outperformed the most naive benchmark. We used bootstrapping with 5,000 subsamples to assess the statistical significance. So here is our model, and here's our analysis, and we'll talk about this in terms of the hypotheses. As you can see, we have global transformational leadership has a significant impact on organizational citizenship. Our p-value was less than 0.05, so our first hypothesis was supported, that global transformational leadership has a positive impact on organizational citizenship. Also, trust, we looked at it as a moderating factor and also as part of the model. Trust impacted organizational citizenship, so our second hypothesis was also supported. And trust had just a slightly bigger impact on organizational citizenship than the global transformational leadership. But these two differences may not be significant. It's such a small difference. Job satisfaction also had a positive impact on organizational citizenship. And so our hypothesis 3 was supported. Then if you look at the moderating effects, neither one of the trust or the job satisfaction were significant moderators on organizational citizenship. So our hypotheses 4 and 5 were not supported. So our conclusion, there have been few studies that have actually examined the relationship between global transformational leadership and organizational citizenship and the effects of interpersonal trust at work and job satisfaction in manufacturing environments. So the findings of this research can contribute to providing managers with a better understanding of how transformational leadership, trust, and job satisfaction contribute to better organizational citizenship in manufacturing environments. Transformational leadership, job satisfaction, and interpersonal trust at work all contributed to organizational citizenship for manufacturing employees in the United States. Additional research is needed to determine how managers in manufacturing environments can develop these transformational leadership skills and contribute to developing interpersonal trust and job satisfaction among their employees. And as manufacturing becomes more automated, these management skills will benefit organizations by further developing management to promote organizational citizenship. And here we have a list of our references. And we thank you for attending.